I am Erika Alcera, and this is my documentary of one of the greatest names in the world of chemistry. None other than Sir Otto Hahn. Otto Hahn, 1879 to 1968. Otto Hahn is a German nationalist and chemist who discovered nuclear fissions and a Nobel laureate and regarded as the father of nuclear chemistry. Otto Hahn was born in the German city of Frankfurt, Maine, on March 8, 1879. His father, Heinrich Hahn, whose hometown was Gandersheim, was a journeyman training for the glazier trade. In 1875, at the end of his traveling years, he married widowed Charlotte Statzmann from Frankfurt. The couple had 3 sons, Heinrich, Julius, and Otto. Otto Hahn's father adopted his wife's son Karl, who had been born to her in her first marriage. In 1897, Hahn studied chemistry at Marburg and Munich, taking his doctorate examination in 1901 at Marburg and submitting to Professor Theodor Zink a thesis on organic chemistry. After completing his 1-year military service with the 81st Infantry Regiment in Frankfurt, he left the army having reached the rank of vice sergeant. In contrast to his brothers, Otto Hahn did, however, not succeed in obtaining the rank of reserve officer, which was very desirable then for social reasons. The young chemist returned to the University of Marburg, where for 2 years he worked as assistant to his doctoral supervisor, Geheimerat Professor Theodor Zink. He obtained a post as assistant in the Chemical Institute at Marburg, staying there for 2 years, after which he worked under Sir William Ramsay at University College London from the autumn of 1904 to the following summer. His work here was rewarded by the discovery of a new radioactive substance, radiothorium, while working on the preparation of pure radium salts. From the autumn of 1905 to the summer of the following year, Hahn was at the Physical Institute of McGill University, Montreal, Canada, working under Professor Ernest Rutherford. Here he discovered radioactinium and conducted investigations with Rutherford on aphorays of radiothorium and radioactinium. On his return to Europe, Hahn moved to Berlin to the Chemical Institute. Here he collaborated with Emil Fischer of the university, and there he qualified as a university lecturer in the spring of 1907, which year also saw his discovery of mesothorium. At the end of 1907, Dr. Lise Meitner came to Berlin from Vienna, and then began more than 30 years collaboration. Their joint work embraced investigations on beta rays, their absorbability, magnetic spectra, use of the radioactive recoil, discovered shortly before by Hahn to obtain new radioactive transformation products. Between 1914 and 1918, Hahn's work was interrupted by his service in the First World War, but he resumed his research with Professor Meitner in 1918 and discovered protactinium, the long-lived mother substance of the actinium series. Hahn's own particular sphere was chemistry, and he further discovered uranium Z, the first case of a nuclear isomerism of radioactive kinds of atoms. Using radioactive methods, he investigated the absorption and precipitation of the smallest quantities of substances, normal and abnormal formation of crystals. Hahn used the emanation method to test substances superficially rich or poor, and he elaborated the strontium method to determine the age of geological periods. In 1933, he published a book in English and later in Russian entitled Applied Radiochemistry. It contains the lectures given by Hahn when he was a visiting professor at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. Following the discovery of artificial radioactivity by Monsieur and Madame Joliot Curie, and the use of neutrons by Enrico Fermi for atomic nuclear processes, Hahn again collaborated with Professor Meitner and afterwards with Dr. Strassman on the processes of irradiating uranium and thorium with neutrons. Hahn and Professor Meitner had also worked together on the discovery of an artificially active uranium isotope, which represents the basic substance of the elements neptunium and plutonium, first revealed later in America. Hahn's work has won recognition in many learned circles. In 1912, he became scientific member of the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Chemistry and has been director of this institute since 1928. 1933 saw his appointment as visiting professor at Cornell University, Ithaca, New York. From 1st of April 1946, he has officiated as president of the Kaiser Wilhelm Society, and from 28th of February 1948 has served as president of the Max Planck Society in Western Germany, being created honorary president of the same society in May 1960. His most spectacular discovery came at the end of 1938 while working jointly with Dr. Strassmann. Hahn discovered the fission of uranium and thorium in medium-heavy atomic nuclei, and his first work on these subjects appeared on 6th of January and 10th of February 1939. Since that time and until 1944, Hahn continued investigations on the proof and separation of many elements and kinds of atoms which arise through fission. Hahn has been granted membership of the Academies of Berlin, Göttingen, Munich, Stockholm, Vienna, Boston, Madrid, and many more. Immediately after the Second World War, Hahn reacted to the dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki by coming out strongly against the use of nuclear energy for military purposes. He saw the application of his scientific discoveries to such ends as a misuse or even a crime. On November 15, 1945, Hahn was awarded the 1944 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for the discovery of nuclear fission in heavy nuclei. He bombarded uranium with neutrons and found evidence of barium. Barium is approximately half the mass of uranium, and the only explanation could be that the uranium nucleus has split in two because of the neutron bombardment. On 1949, he received Max Planck Medal with Lise Meitner. In January 1958, Otto Hahn signed the Pauling Appeal to the United Nations for the immediate conclusion of an international agreement to stop the testing of nuclear weapons. And in October, he signed the international agreement to call a meeting to draw up a world constitution. Right up to his death, he never tired of warning urgently of the dangers of the nuclear arms race between the great powers and of the radioactive contamination of the planet. In 1959, President Charles de Gaulle of France made him an officer of the Legion d'Honneur. He was made a Knight of the Peace class of the Order pour le Mérite, received the Distinguished Service Order and the Grand Cross of the Federal Republic of Germany. In 1961, Pope John XXIII awarded him the Gold Medal of the Papal Academy. In 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson of the USA and the USA Atomic Energy Commission awarded Hahn together with Lise Meitner and Fritz Strassmann the Enrico Fermi Prize. This was the only time the Fermi Prize has been awarded to non-Americans. Hahn was made an honorary citizen of the cities of Frankfurt am Main and Göttingen, and of the land and the city of Berlin. He died in July 28, 1968 at the age of 89 at Göttingen, Germany, by accidentally falling.